Hey everybody, welcome back. So in my previous video, I went through the setup for a two-player game of Manifolds. We're going to dive right into the first season for this two-player game. So we'll use this handy-dandy reference as a guide so that I don't mess anything up or skip any steps or do them out of order. So we're going to start with the assemble phase of the season. So this is where each player is dealt cards, and then they have a chance to basically redraw cards from their hand to kind of even out their starting distribution of cards. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, this is excellent. Okay, cool. I think what we're going to do is, so now that everyone has their cards, what we're going to do is players may draw 2 cards from suit piles matching sites they rule. What does that mean? Okay, so if you look at the board here, players are spread out at different sites. So most players are going to start at sites that they're allied with and rule those sites. So this player is allied with nature. They rule these 2 sites. The Splinter Claw cohort player also rules this site. However, they do not rule Central Fold. So basically, there's 2 opportunities, 2 new cards players can draw from sites. So this will let a player draw 1 nature card, 1 nature card, or 1 water card. And you can do this one at a time. So looking at my hand here, I think I'm going to go with this as the trump suit or the exalted suit. 1, because I am nature, and 2, because I have a majority of that one suit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw 1 card to start from here. And then I'm going to draw another card. I think I'll draw another card from here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to return cards now. So even though this is the trump suit card, this is a high card, so I really want to keep this as well. So I'm going to return this card. Cards are returned back to piles at the bottom. So I do this, for example. This helps with the card cycling a little bit. And then I'm going to return this one back secretly to the fire pile. Make sense? Okay, so now I'm going to switch to the perspective of the orange player. Okay, this hand is less good. However, the interesting thing is they rule the central fold, so they're able to draw any card from a suit pile that they want. So we saw green drew 2 of the nature cards, so we are going to draw 1 nature card. And then what else do we rule? We rule Blightlobe Valley, and we also rule Sky Sight, this Fire Sight, this Fire Sight. I think I'm going to draw from, which card is the most? So maybe we'll draw from here. Oh, that was okay. I'm going to return this lousy blue 1. And then I'm going to bury. The terminology is bury. So I'm going to bury. Want to keep this card because it may help out with my faction. I'm going to return this card. Okay, so that completes the assembly phase. Let's switch back over to the first player from their perspective. There's now the exalt phase. If it's a 3-player game, you bid for who the first player is. I need to actually fix this a little bit now that I think about it. The bid should happen in the assemble phase. But anyways, the first player is going to draw 3 quests and put one of those quests into play. So if you look at these cards, this is working out really well for the nature faction. Although Amender's Ocarina, we could... No, I think the totem is going to be really cool. Let's try to make that happen. So you put it into a play at a site that matches the suit. So for example, I can't put this here because that's the worst site, nor can I put it here. However, I can put it down here. And I think that's what I'm going to do. These cards are going to get buried at the bottom. Similar cycling sort of motivation for that. So that was the part of the exalt phase. Now what's going to happen is the player is going to choose an exalted suit. So we are going to go with nature. And then one aspect of the game that's kind of distinguishes itself between the seasons, excuse me, yeah, can't talk today. Uh, the part of the game that distinguishes itself, making it a little bit more interesting, is these manifest cards. So, like I mentioned, these are tied to the Exalted Suit. So we are going to choose this manifest, and we will put it right here so players can read it. Let's go ahead and read it right now. Okay, so this scenario is called the Forest Depths. So during this technically season, I used to be called Epics, the encounter area is treated as a site that's adjacent to Everroot Forest. Um, it's called the Forest Depths. So players can, this is a site, so you can do everything that you would normally do with sites. Any units you add there, the strength gets added to your nature power, which I haven't talked about yet. So we'll go ahead and grab this site card from the little pool here. We'll get a little bit of a marker, let us know that this is now another site players can rule. We'll open these up. Okay. However, there's a catch though. So this forest is alive and it's dangerous. So any troops that are still here at the end of the season are going to get removed via damage. So you may want to try to get troops out of here if you can help it. Okay, so assemble phase, exalt phase. Now for kind of the meat of the season is the encounters phase. So before I get started with that, I'm going to quickly glance over the special abilities for each of the factions. So each of the cohorts rather. So the Splinter Claw cohort has 3 abilities. I think each faction, for the most part, has 3 things that distinguish them from other cohorts. So Intimidator basically means any sites that have bears, players cannot move into those sites with their troops. So if I had a bear here, this player could not move their troops. They could move their companions. So if they had one of these phoenixes, they could just go and swoop in there. Another ability is called Bellowing Roar. So when a bear moves to a site, it can scare away other troops. So if this bear moved in here, it could displace troops like that. Then the final part of the bear is, or of this faction, it's called Nature's Blessing. And so if you notice, there's a little star next to the strength of this companion. Usually they would be 2 strength. However, if you were able to get your nature power, which we'll talk about in a minute, all the way up to 3 or higher, your bears then become 3 strength units. So that's really good. So they're a very defensive cohort. All right, now for probably one of my favorite factions. Sorry, I keep saying faction. I apologize. Cohorts in the game is a Sunscreamer cohort. So, I didn't talk about. I'm sorry, I didn't talk about the. Sorry, Stagnar, I didn't talk about you. What do you do? Well, you're 4 strength. However, your little special disc here lets you siphon nature power from somebody. So, for example, if Stagnar moved over here and you used his siphon ability, that would remove these troops, and then you would get 2 nature power, which you could add up here into the encounter area. So nature power I haven't talked about yet, but basically what it does is you add this number to your played card. So if I played this 10 with this 5, if this 5 nature was in play, that'd be a 15. So that would significantly increases your chances of winning the trick. All right, so that's Stagnar. Let's bring him back because he is not in play yet. Let's go back over to the Sunscreamer cohort. Okay, so this cohort has again 3 abilities. They have Firewall. So any troops that are at sites, any of the orange player's troops at sites with a Phoenix, those troops cannot be targeted by enemies in any way. So that Bellowing Roar effect, that when you move into the sites to displace troops, that would not apply if a bear were to move into this site, for example. Well, there aren't any troops there, but if the bear moved into Melting Point, for example, they could not displace troops. So they kind of incentivizes removing these phoenixes if you're able to. However, the second effect here, sorry, the third effect, burning vengeance, kind of decentivizes it because every time a phoenix is removed by direct damage, your heat level goes up one, and that's bad. Just that's bad. But so is not removing troops. So players are going to have to decide how and when they want to deal with those phoenix companions. The last thing pertains to the burn effect, which is a disc ability for fire discs. Burn lets you deal damage to troops based off of your heat level. And normally troops can only do this. However, for the Sun Screamer cohort, both Pyrantis and the companions can use burn. And they are also both immune to burn. You can't burn fire. So that's the whole narrative there. And finally, we won't forget about you, Pyrantis. Pyrantis has an effect called Combust. So when Pyrantis moves into a site, if he's at that site and doesn't fall over like that, and you invoke Combust, you remove Pyrantis and all other troops, including your own, at that site. So it's a huge explosion. Okay, I think that covers all of the unique attributes of each of the cohorts. Let's dive right into to the encounters. Okay, so we're looking here. From our objective, we want to try to rule this site, this site, this site, and this site. There's also this quest here, which I'll try to illustrate that a little bit. Okay, so what can we do? There's a lot of decisions here. I think what I want to start off with is, do I want to bring Stagnar into play? I think I do. So what I will start with doing, no, I think I'm going to do that eventually. I will take this action. I'm going to exhaust these two discs to use what's called Possess. So if we look at the Possess ability, convert one enemy troop at one of your sites by replacing it with one of your own. This is not damage. Thematically, what's happening is I'm hijacking this player's mind and basically recruiting them to my cause. So I do that here at one of my sites. Any of your sites, when it refers to your sites, it's just any of your sites, any of the sites that have your fighting units there. Doesn't matter about rule, you just have to be there. And then the final disc action, I think I want to keep up with this effect of removing troops. Maybe I'll do this last one and convert at Central Fold. Okay, and then now that I've played all discs for one of the lines, I throw a card. I kind of want to play from this perspective. I have this 10. I don't think there's any way that this player can beat this 9 that I can think of unless they decide to move into here if they're able to. However, they're really far from Everroot Forest, so I don't think that's going to be easy for them to do. But we'll see if they want to do that or not. It is worth a point, though, so maybe they want to try to get in there. All right, let's play this 9. Okay, so this player is the lead. So now it is the Sun Screamer cohort's turn to follow. So in terms of what cards they have to play, if able, they must throw a suit that matches the lead suit. And in this example, the Exalted suit is the lead suit, so they're required to throw this 6, which kind of stinks from their perspective, but we'll go with the flow. Okay, Pyrantis. Let's start off by bringing Pyrantis into play. We're going to spawn him right here. Yeah. Yep. Then the next thing we're going to do is the War Disc, which is called so the War Disc has a couple different choices. It can do Strike, it can do Stifle, or it can do Parry. And I think what we'll do Yeah, I think we'll do stifle. Well, yeah, there's really no way they can remove these troops. So I think I am going to use stifle for the next one. So stifle, you look at your rage here, which is 2, and then you're going to add stifle cubes to a player's discs. Um, I really want to kind of stifle this player's ability to use disguise, um, because I think that will be well, I'll show you why that's probably what you want to do. Um, okay, and then this player's going to throw 6. All right, so that concludes the first encounter. So clearly this 9 beats the 6. So so this player is going to gain these 2 cards. Now, I'm just going to put it above here for now, just so we can show what's available. Now, from the acclaimed cards, you choose what's called an encounter effect, and there's a lot of different choices here. And this is kind of where things start to branch a little bit. So they're the same cards, so really these are the 4 effects. You can do March, Muster, Discover, or Growth. Let me hover over what those are. So Growth lets you add 4 of your troops to any of your sites. That's a good way to get troop presence on the board. March lets you move any number of troops from one site to another site. That's really the only way to move a large body of troops besides Exodus, which is same kind of thing, but it lets you fly to a different site. That's the sky action up there, the second from the top. And then Discover is a way to, an expedited way to complete quests. And I think I don't have a lot of nature discs right now, and I kind of want to save them to get some bears and stuff on the board. So I think I may actually choose Discover for this one. Troops are good, but I think I want to start to build my action tableau a little bit with some unique actions from these quest cards. So if you look at Discover, you do Explore 1 to 2 times. Explore is a general action down there when it says any disc. So you further a quest by spending a disc matching the quest site suit and remove 1 of your troops. So Discover means I just basically remove two troops, and then I would add one of my quest dice right here. Okay, so that would be this quest. It's already very far along. Okay, so now we will move on to encounter number 2. I think what I want to do here, it kind of makes sense. Let's go back over to Splinter Claw cohort from their perspective. Okay. Unfortunately, this player deprived my ability to use disguise, but I want to show what that is. Basically, it's a really good way to leverage cards that are high numbers, but not necessarily the exalted suit. So disguise, what you do is you spend a disc. So I would spend this, but I can't because it has the stifle cube. So I can't spend it for that purpose. But let's say this cube was not on there for this example. I would spend this disc, and then I would spend water. This little water droplet's another currency. So I'd spend a water as well. And so then that lets you change your card's suit to an exalted suit. So if I played this card, I could then make it for this encounter. Basically, it's disguised as a nature card. So that was really great. That would have been really great to do. I probably should have started with that if I was thinking about what this player was going to do with their discs. So the thing is, though, you need that extra water to do that. So if you're out of water, you can't do this action. So you would need to use your refresh to reset it back to your water level. The water encounter effect's called Rising Tide. That actually moves your water level up. And so when you refresh, you get a lot more water back when you do that. That's how that would work. Water can also be used for another effect called Swim. So you can spend just the water in addition to the discs to swim. So you'd be able to move between connected sites that are flooded. However, right now there really isn't these are disjoint sites, but as you play, perhaps you flood more sites like that. So then you could presumably move a troop all the way up here with just a water. So it lets you get movement without having to use your precious disk economy to do that. Okay, that was a lot. Sorry about that. Um, I wanted to show the disguise, but I think it's a really interesting effect. Um, but what do we want to do now with the rest of this action? So I think what we can do is um, ba, 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 ba. Yeah, let's bring a bear into play. So what I can do, if you look over here, companions cost one disc, and then any other disc, and that will let you bring a companion into play. So I think what I want to do is do that. And then I will play. This player did play a Exalted Suit card last round, but I don't know if they still have any. So let's try to tease out and see if they have any more. Okay. So we now move to the perspective of the orange player. Okay. So now what I think we're going to do, technically I was supposed to, when I use stifle, you're supposed to stifle another disc. So I think I'm going to stifle this one. I think what I want to do is choose this bottom one, and then I'm going to use the strike ability. So strike says deal direct damage at one of your sites equal to your combined strength at the sites there, at that site. And then the little star says these disc abilities require stifling an unused matching disc. But since I don't have any more matching unstifled war discs, I'm good. So my combined strength is 4 here versus this player's 4, so I completely wipe out all of their troops here. And then I'm gonna play a card, and I don't have any of the lead suit, which is also the encounter suit, so I'm gonna play this too. So it's kind of a void play. So this player gets to choose these two effects. They could they could march, move, or muster, or grow. I think what they'll do is do grow to get some troops back. So maybe they will add 2 troops here, and then maybe another 2 troops here, because this is you can deploy at your camps. That's completely valid as an action. Okay. All right, what else? So now we're on encounter 3. I could bring Stagnar into play. I think that would make sense because I'm a little worried about this. Although this player could move Pyrantis and blow up virtually whoever they want. I can always treat this as a nature disc, so I could bring another bear into play. No, I think it makes sense to bring Stagnar into play, especially since I'm very close to completing this quest. Yeah. I think I'm going to wait for the completion of this quest until the next season. Um, the okay, we can't forget about the forest depths up here, though. That's 1 point, and there's really no way for this player, unfortunately, for this game. This was so far away from this player. I think it makes sense just to drop at least 1 troop, one brave soul, move them there. And then, do I want to try to just do I want to save this and play it last, or do I want to play this card? Um, let's play this. I'm feeling a little bit. So I know they're out of Trump. So let's see if they can respond to this. Okay, so perhaps this player overlooked the Sun Screamer's ability to respond, but they are out of trump, but they can seek and try to find trump cards. So there's an effect which is from the Sky Disc called Search. So you can draw 3 cards from any suit that matches one of your ruled sites, bury 2 of those drawn cards, and then bury another card from your hand. You may draw from any suit pile if you rule the central fold, which they do. So let's go here and draw from Nature, which has 2 cards. Draw all of them. Ooh, this is actually really great because this 2 or this 3 would be the low trump card. And there's not really a way for the Splinter Claw to get that back. So maybe they have a 1 in their hand. Very, very slim chance they will. So I'll return this card back, and then I will return this 8. And this 8 was yeah, so this will go underneath here. All right, that was cool. So now they will throw this, and this player wins these 2 cards. So now they get to do it's kind of interesting having water and fire discs. It's almost like Steam. Maybe flooding. Yeah, maybe that makes sense. Maybe being mobile would be a good thing. So I think we are going to raise this up like that. And then we will flood the central fold. All right, and then the final thing. Yeah, that's fine. The final thing we will do is I think what we will do is we want to move Stagnar or Pyrantis over here and burn. Do we want to? I think we're pretty much set on the points. I think the Splinter Claw cohort has a commanding lead on these, as well as here. I don't think there's any way I can get there. So maybe we just set up for the next round. So I think what I'll do, I think I want to protect these troops. So I'm going to spawn a Phoenix here. Remember, their ability lets them kind of protects them, and decentivizes removing the Phoenix. Right, so for the final encounter, they will throw this 9. Hopefully there's no trump from this perspective. This technically will go here. All right, and then the final thing that the Splinter Claw player will do is, what are they going to do? I think just bring Stagnar into play, and then maybe spread out a little bit. So we will bring Stagnar. Okay, maybe we go here. Mix things up a little bit. Yeah, let's do that. Let's move over here. And then we will spawn Stagnar and go on a quest in the mountain here. And then here is the 10. So this player gets... Oops, sorry. They get these cards. We'll put this like this. Okay, so the green, so these were the 2 cards for the encounter effect. So I can use fire or I can do growth. Fire, probably the discs I had. I don't have a lot of attack power, so maybe getting fire and raising my heat level is a good strategy. Although, is it though? Because I mean, I could remove their troops, but I can't really remove their Phoenix or their... they have troops. They have more than just those units. So I think that's what we'll do. And we'll use our bears, scare away the Phoenixes, and then light them up. That sounds good. So heating up, I took the effect called heating up, which increases the heat level. Okay, so that concludes the season, or the encounters phase. We now look at the acknowledge phase, which is where you award points. So who gets what? The orange player gets 2 points here. 1, 2. They get the low card, so that's another point. I think that's everything. The green player gets the highest card. They get the most cards. And then they get point here, here, and here. So 1, 2, 3. That's all 8 points. Now fortunately this troop dies. It's swallowed by the forest, and this goes back into the bag. So that concludes the at least this manifest. So now what we do is we look at the claim cards and then add one. There's a way to recruit. So players can recruit discs based off of cards they acquired, or 1 to 2 discs from sites they rule, or any one disc. We'll start with the green player. They did raise their heat level, so I think it makes sense for them to go ahead and discard this card, similar to the setup, and acquire 3 fire discs. So we will remove these pesky stifle cubes, and then we will do we'll do something like this. Yeah, that sounds good. And then the other cards get returned back to the soup piles, just like before. We'll shuffle these in. All right, now for the this player, like I mentioned, they focused on increasing their water level, so they're going for kind of a steam fire build. They'll discard this card, and they'll get 4 water discs. And then also, let's get rid of this pesky stifle cube. I think this build seems fine. And then this one will get returned back there. All right, so now we would move on to the next season. So that pretty much goes through everything I wanted to share. There were a couple disc abilities I did not show. I didn't technically get to use burn, but I think that's clear that you deal damage based off of the heat level. Scout, that's moving troops between sites. That's what I did. I think when I moved this troop over here to put Stagnar, I used a scout action without really speaking to it. I didn't use explore technically, but the way that would work is you could spend a matching disc. So if I was here, I could explore, remove a troop, and that would complete this quest. That's how explore would work there. And I didn't use parry, but parry lets you remove a stifle cube from one of your unused discs, so that could have saved this player. If they had 1 war disc, they could have removed that 1 stifle cube here and done and they would have been able to disguise that 10 water card that unfortunately this player was able to claim to add these discs. Encounter effects, we showed growth. I talked about Exodus, Rising Tide. We invoked that. Heating up, we invoked Rage. That increases this. That's the number of stifle cubes that you can use as part of the stifle action. And then the final ability we didn't show, but I think we could have maybe, is Take. So this is really interesting. It lets you steal a claimed card. Just remember when this player got the 2. If there was a dark card that was played here, they could invoke Take to steal that back. Or what they could do is look at a player's hand and take one of their cards. So the dark faction is all about stealing things. Possess steals people, Take steals things. Okay, and then just one more thing. This totem here has an interesting ability. It basically makes your nature die instead of a D6. It makes it a D8. So you can get numbers as high as 18 with that effect. All right, I think that's everything I wanted to show everybody. So thanks for sticking around, and I hope this gives a good overview of how my game Manifolds plays. Look forward to sharing more about this game in the near future. All right, thanks everybody.